Guys, stay defending the revive station. All we gotta do is just sit here and outlast them. Cyrious, you need to be in that tank.
I do believe in this.
Don't run! Don't run!
Now just let Cyrious have at it. Thank you, Cyrious.
And I love you, random citizen.
Hello, fellow Araxians. Welcome to my most useless advanced training guide ever. You will be able to use all of these tips and tricks for a grand total of 1 day, and then the game will be shut down. But guys, before we start, I wanted to announce the play sessions. I was hoping to be able to set the final event up for like 11 a.m. Pacific time, because that means that people from Europe would be in their prime time, and we could get people from all over the world playing. Unfortunately, the game shuts down on a Friday, and I work. So, the major send-off play session is going to be on January 9th, 6 p.m. Pacific. And then the secondary play session is going to be January 10th at 3 p.m. Pacific. The game closes down 2 hours later, January 10th at 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to try to rearrange my schedule to make that second final shutdown time, but I know people will be logging in anyways to see it close down. So the next thing I need, guys, is I need you to go out and download Planetside Arena. Even if you never considered it, never wanted to touch it, would never go near it because you hate what it does to the Planetside franchise, I'm asking you to do it now. Don't worry, we're past the point where you're like voting for it or something by downloading it. It's going away, no matter what, guaranteed. It's gone on the 10th. Doesn't matter if you suck at Battle Royales, doesn't matter if you're salty at Daybreak Games for even doing it, and to be honest, this is your chance to hop in and say, yep, I was right. And that directive you're trying to grind in Planetside 2 can wait for 1 day, so call your friends, call your mom, tell your outfit, get everyone to download Planetside Arena for one last bash. Again, here are the playtimes. I'll be in my Discord, you can hop in there, or if you just hop in with your outfit's Discord, just make sure they know that you guys are dropping all other games that day and coming to Planetside Arena. Without further ado, here is your advanced training for Planetside 3 Battle Royale. Okay guys, so I'm just going to run you through the medic loadout, because to be honest, that was 90% of my playtime. The Assault and Engineer both have areas they excel, but the Medic is hands down the best at fighting in one location, be it 1v1, 1v2, or 1v3. So you get one mod in your suit slot. I go with Medical Training. Medics already have a reduced timer to revive people, and this stacks. It also brings them back with more health, so if it's a situation where you're reviving people in the pain field, it gives them a little more time to make their way out of it, or gets them back into the battle that much faster. So guys, you have 4 weapon slots total. 3 of them you get to pick before you go into battle. You get to choose what weapon you take in with you. In my primary slot, I take the Assault Rifle, and I put on the Regen Break mod. What that means is every time I break an enemy's shields, I start regenerating 50% of my base health pool. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you stack it up, if you're operating near your shield regen device, or if you have your ability as well, there are so many ways for the medic to bring their health up, and this is just one more of them. When you see me sustaining in these 1v4, 1v5, 1v6 fights, that mod is an important piece of keeping me alive. In my secondary slot, I use the SMG. These things are devastating hip-firing CQC. Now the mod you see I have equipped is the Reduced Underbarrel Cooldown. That is actually for the Capture the Flag mode. If you upgrade the SMG to purple, and you have that mod, your secondary fire, which is the Impulse Grenade, comes off cooldown really fast. And the mobility you get from Impulse Grenades dominates Capture the Flag. On that note, I'm not sure what modes are going to be open on Thursday and Friday when the servers are shutting down. Currently, the only mode that is open is Squads. So this guide is going to focus on the Battle Royale end of it, because that's what I expect we'll be playing. But if Capture the Flag ends up what's being open, you might have to tweak your mods a bit from my loadouts. The mod I use on my SMG for the Battle Royale mode is actually SMG Charger. Whenever you sprint, your weapon goes down, and it takes you a fraction of a second to bring your weapon back to bear to fire again. This mod cuts that time in half, so when I'm dancing in the rocks trying to dodge someone, the time it takes me to fire again after my sprint is halved. There is an argument for the improved impulse mod on the SMG in Battle Royale to make it easier to flip enemy tanks, but I can flip tanks without the improved mod no problem, and I'll go over that here. So I opt to have something that helps me in my infantry duels. And then finally, in my final slot, I use the Pilot 45. This weapon feels very similar to the Pilot in Planetside 2, and it happens to be the pistol I'm working towards Araxium with anyways. And finally, when I normally pull out my pistol, the enemy has just a sliver of health left, and it's a high percentage, quick round spam to finish them off. The Heavy Blaster is a terrific pistol as well. It is without a doubt a hand cannon. It is very reminiscent of the Commissioner in Planetside 2. Huge damage on it, but you better be perfect with it. I can't tell you how many people I've wiped out because they tried to be cute with the Heavy Blaster. Now, some people may say, well, why not scout rifles? Those are pretty nice. And they are. It limits your range a bit, but you can put infravision on your scout rifles. But the main reason I don't use them is because of the fourth slot. Crates drop legendary weapons in-game. You can get a Lasher, a Lancer, a Decimator, or a Daimyo. What works best for me is I focus on finding a Daimyo. I have an SMG for close range, an AR for medium range, and then my Daimyo for long range sniping. Now, it's great to have a Lancer for tanks, but I deal with them by using my SMG Impulse up close, or harassing them with a secondary on the assault rifle. Those are guided rockets from long range. So you can see with my loadout, by the time I pick up that Daimyo, I'm prepared to engage anything or anyone at any range. Okay folks, so you kind of got a rundown on my loadout. Let's spend a minute on visuals, things you see on your HUD and things that you'll see in game, what you need to know about. You have your mini-map in your upper left. The countdown to the right of it is the time until the pain circle closes again. The plus and minus shows your level of zoom on the minimap. I keep the zoom for the minimap bound to my mouse wheel, and I am constantly scrolling in and out depending on my range of engagement. The red area marked on the minimap is the existing pain field, and the blue circle is where it will close to. The single person icon is how many people are left in the match. Note that people can be revived, so this number may go up. The multiplayer icon is the amount of teams that are left, and the skull is the amount of kills you have. Now, this footage is from after everyone quit the game, so you had to get creative in order to create your dailies, so I was farming this guy for shield break ribbons, which will make it convenient for us to explain some of the elements you'll see on your UI. Now, when you are taking damage, your screen will flash. An orange hexagonal pattern will form in the corner of the screen where damage is coming from. You also have some indicators for damage you're doing. That bright orange circle you see means that you broke their shields. Also a little shatter effect on their shield icon. Generally, you can just use that as an indicator to know that it's just the base health pool left. I was using it to know when I should stop or else I'd kill him. And when the shields start recovering, it has that orange glow, so I knew when I could start shooting him and when I could stop shooting him. Other things to notice on the UI, you have your team on the left. You can hit tab to pull up more info on them. And the number that has an N in a circle next to it is for nanites. You use these nanites to purchase upgrades at these vending machines right next to me here that you see throughout the game. And you use the nanites when you need to revive your friendlies. The bottom left of your screen shows icons from left to right. It is your shield, your jump jets, your ability, and your tool. All 4 of these slots can be upgraded. The base is green, then blue, purple, orange is legendary, and the maximum tier. In the center of your HUD, you have your shield on top and your base health pool below. Both of these will tick up after not taking damage for a while. The shield rapidly and health slowly. And then it shows your grenades and med kits. Unless you're using a specific mod, you can carry 3 of each of those, of one type only. There is a regular med kit that's green, a large med kit that's blue, and a purple med kit that is area effect. You can pick up traditional frag grenades. The orange circle that is since dissipated is the radiation grenade. It does damage over time in its zone. You can also pick up void grenades that shroud you when you're inside the sphere. And the legendary is an orbital strike grenade. Yes, you can carry 3 orbital strike grenades. The icon on the right represents your personal vehicle. As you can see there, I use the X key whenever you need to get around, hit that button, and you will immediately spawn onto a vehicle. There is a cooldown that will be represented by a grayed out area on that icon while you wait for it to come up again. And then the final thing to notice is in the bottom right is your weapons. These can be upgraded with the same tiers as your jump jets and abilities. Excellent! So, you've got a loadout. You should have a pretty firm understanding of what's going on around you in game. The final thing I want to do before I completely cut you loose is talk about tactics. I want to start by talking about calm awareness. So I start getting plinked from the back here. What a lot of people will do is panic and turn around and look for what they're getting shot by. All that does is give them more time to shoot you. I've got half an eye on my mini-map. I see there's a tank out there. It's probably a Cobalt plinking me from long range. It's not a threat. I'm just going to step forward over the ridge where I'm safe and deal with the fight that I'm still mopping up in front of me. Now, I always have at least 25% of one eye on the mini-map. You can see here my friendlies have all kind of moved on from this fight. But wait, what just popped up behind them? They are looking to the next group, handling some other revives, not paying attention to the fact that there is an enemy in a perfect flanking position. So I was able to get in there and make sure he didn't cause too many problems for my squad from behind. Don't panic while under fire, and make sure you maintain awareness of your surroundings. Your biggest threat is not always the first thing that's shooting at you. Aggression. People can spend all day long shooting at someone across the field that is really out of the effective range of their weapons. Sometimes you just gotta close the gap and end it. You need to know when it's a smart decision to charge, but when you see the opportunity, make the decision and follow through with conviction. I prefer to drive a harasser when I can rather than my personal vehicle. Here's why. Say you stop to pick up a crate. You have to sit there and wait for 30 seconds for your cooldown on your personal vehicle to come back up before you can drive away. With a harasser, you pop out, you loot it, and you can get right back in and drive on. Next, you're easily knocked off of your personal vehicle. Just a few shots from small arms fire will dismount you or an enemy. So if you need to stop someone from leaving, make sure you shoot at them. And if you're trying to leave, you shouldn't pop your vehicle directly under fire. Try to create a little bit of distance or find an obstacle so you can get on, get a turbo boost started, and then hopefully avoid most of their shots so you don't get knocked off. Tanks do massive damage in this game. Direct damage is a one-shot, and splash damage is no joke either. I want to check what that guy had. I need some medkits and a grenade. But being greedy probably would have cost me. I walk away and live to fight in a better position. I picked this position to fight because of the jump pad. Now this first guy was just a complete happy accident. I was thinking the jump pad would be my escape route, not something that would just split the enemies up. But the little bit of height means the tank turrets can't get at me, and if they were able to beach themselves on a rock or something, I could just jump pad away and create some distance. Just gotta peek behind me every now and then, make sure I don't lose track of the guy that flew away. You'll notice my friendlies are far away, so I'm approaching this as a 1v4 scenario. And if you're in that situation, what you're trying to achieve is fighting only one at a time. So I was able to approach the group of 4, but face them all in 1v1 battles. And this guy tried to get a radiation grenade on me, but in the end, joke's on him. Okay guys, so you're in a busy fight, your friendlies are getting laid out with heat rounds. What do? First of all, you don't stop engaging the enemy. Killing them or even just suppressive fire will keep your position solid. If you let off pressure, your position will crumble. And guys, definitely let their medics do the reviving, especially in combat. They have a base reduced time, and then they might have the mod, which even further reduces the time. But the key thing to note is that you can revive while you are fighting. You need to get those allies back in the battle, keep your position strong, but it doesn't mean you have to stop dominating them. Okay, let's take a look at engineer shields. I love enemy engineer shields. Don't get me wrong, friendly engineer shields are good too, especially if you're trying to revive under fire. But in this game, engineer shields are not like Planetside 2 that has some one-way shields. They block everything that's hitting them from either side. So when I see enemy engineer shields, I love to get up close and personal to them, because then I get to dictate when I engage. If you can close the gap while they step away from them, they effectively become friendly shields for your own use. You can stand on them with complete visibility and coverage, and decide when you're going to make your move. So you've got your loadout, you understand a lot of the visual cues you'll see on the HUD or in-game, and you have some general tactics ideas. But I want to go a little deeper into tactics by analyzing a situation and explaining what my thought process was. This is the concept of studying game tape to see what you did right, what you did wrong, and learn from it. So here's the situation. I'm the only person left on my team, and it's 1 versus 3. But you'll notice the corpse on the screen there. I just took one out in infantry combat. I had the tanks pinned off to the left side, but they made the smart move, and they went and got the high ground. If they had yielded that to me, their high explosive rounds would have been useless, right? They can't fire up a hill. From the top of the hill, they can splash down onto me as I have to traverse down into the circle. So those two guys are probably sitting in the main heat cannons of those tanks, are staring down, waiting for me to crest this hill so they can smoke me with high explosives. And you might be wondering, why don't they just charge me as infantry? Well, they just saw their buddy go down, so they know it's me. If they were able to coordinate well enough, they should be able to take me out 3 versus 1. Nice on paper, difficult in practice. Now you may notice I have an orbital strike grenade, and it's tempting to just throw it on them while the tanks are right next to each other, right? The problem is they still have too much space that's not in the pain field to drive to. So right now, this is sort of a game of chicken. I have to wait it out to make sure the circle is small enough that when I throw an orbital strike grenade, both of those tanks are eliminated from the battle. With my Lancer, I'm not going to be able to kill them with it. The last thing I want to do is just stand out there and plink away at them because I'll get wiped out. But I use it to just create some distance. Now with the orbital strike grenade, you have to time the throw perfect when you're using it near the end of a match. If I waited till the pain field was closing, it would be too late because I have to be able to get out of the blast as well. So they don't want to be near me because I have a Lancer plinking at them. I throw the orbital strike grenade so I have just a sliver between me and the pain field that I can safely stay out of it. One guy doesn't clear the blast zone and just dies with his tank. The other guy literally had to drive into the pain field to escape the orbital strike. Now here I'm ditching the Lancer. The Lancer does more AV damage, but it's dangerous because you have to stay exposed. With the Decimator, I can pop out, fire a shot, and then get back in cover. So between me plinking at him with the Lancer, having to run into the pain field because of the orbital strike, and then a few Decimator shots, I've eliminated his tank from the battle. He can't stay in it because one rocket from me will kill it. So we've gone from it being a 3 versus 1, with 2 of them having tanks, to just a good old-fashioned duel. And you'll notice on the minimap, I've picked the one corner of it that has some rocks that I can hang out on. If I had moved to the other side of the circle, there's no cover over there. So now he's going to be forced to move through me to get to the safe zone. And I'm not going to just wait for him. I'm going to take advantage of my position of power. In that move on him, I broke his shields. He tried to reposition to the other side, but he was just too injured. And that's a GG. Good game, Nave. You may be wondering, man, Cyrious, what's with all these low-kill games? That game probably started with 2 teams and 6 total players. I am a Planetside aficionado, so don't worry, guys. I've played Planetside Arena at its peak, and it's very, very, very low bottom. Okay, guys, in the next situation, we're going to flip the tables. There was an H1Z1 streamer playing on the other team. So we're going to start by watching my opponents. Now, we're both just in random squads, and I tried to call my team off this fight, but they weren't having it, so they walked into a bad engagement. Now, if you see on his minimap there, the red bike that's the farthest away, that's me. I stuck with the team originally, but when we only had 5 alive and they still had 11 alive, my call to not fight there was determined to be correct, and it was time to start looking for another tactic. And some of you might be thinking, man, Cyrious, why are you such a coward? Well, guys, sometimes prudence is the better part of valor. So we're going to let him finish dominating the rest of my team here, and then we're going to get to the lesson.
I fucking turned that whole fight around.
Alright guys, I'm going straight to the rest place.
I'm going to.
I got him! Great hit! Don't get cocky!
They didn't track their kills. Keep track of the grugs in the match. Cyrious has already popped up in the kill feed a few times, so you know you've got at least one grug you gotta worry about on the other team. But you had a bike leave early, and Cyrious never popped up in that battle. So you can feel good about blowing up the little grugs all you want, but lazily drifting in the respawn bunker while you haven't seen him dead is a major goddamn problem for you.
coming. They're coming. They know what you're doing.
Do they know what I'm doing, though? They spent way too much mopping up the easy kills and let me have a free ride at the respawn bunker. If my teammates are going to fight in a bad spot, I'm just going to respawn them in at a good spot. After I did some respawning, I'm going to step out and be the shooter and let friendlies get the rest. In this case, I killed off the first guy that showed up, and then I made sure to be a serious deterrent so they couldn't get close to the bunker. That guy bails and goes to regroup with his team. They're right on the top of the hill. Push top of hill now. Push top of hill now. Not one at a time, together. Amazing how quick a squad falls into line after a bad engagement, and you bring them the gift of another life through a respawn. Guys, I drive the tanks around not because it's necessarily what I want to kill with. Sure, if I can knock a guy off with a cobalt, great. But what it does is, it usually takes one or two people out of the battle. Rather than pushing up to try to help their friend, they're going to sit there and plink at it with decimators and lancers, and I just leave it behind as a decoy. Feel free to blow it up while I kill your teammate.
Get your loot. We got a couple
I
down
was trying to pull off a kill/revive combo right here. Unfortunately, just before I was able to kill him, he got a decimator round off, which knocked me away from my revive. If I didn't have 4 friendlies around me that could revive if the scout rifle got me, I might have bailed, but I knew I was okay. So guys, I was tracking the kill feed, and I know I've got no competition left, so excuse me while I go stomp for a moment.
Good game, boys.
Oh! Easy game, easy life!
How do you respawn?
It's always the dude with 0 kills that calls easy game, isn't it? And Puff Puff, your friendlies have to get you up at the respawn bunker. You can't do it yourself. And you guys are thinking, well, Cyrious, this has been fun and all, but this is a goddamn marathon for a game that's closing down in a few days. But wait, there's more. We're gonna do one last scenario. You've got me on the left. My team just got hit with an orbital. There's a big scar here that we had to push across that tried to keep us together, but on the other side, and the scattering from the orbital, everyone's spread out. On the right side, you have the lead designer for Planetside Arena, Cardo. And you saw me just finish a guy off, and they took out my teammate, Kaga. So it's 6 versus 3 favoring Cardo's team right now. Stay calm. Painfield's coming in, that's okay. You can take a hit from it and survive it. Don't vehicle or boost off into a bad position just because you felt a little damage. When you've got enemies out of position, take your time, deliver the kill. Reviving friendlies is secondary to fighting. But in this case, I killed the only threat. I want them back up for sure. Now, while I do lack the numbers advantage, what I was able to achieve by pushing up to that building is the position advantage. We have the uphill ground and a couple nice rock formations in our favor. What's tough for Cardo is his random teammates are making charges one at a time. If you are going to hold and defend a position, fine, do it. Or if you're going to charge, fine, do it. But you gotta find a way to do it together. And here's the famous last words from your friendlies. Whether there's 1 or 100, get your team together and push it hard. Maybe it's 3 little grugs and you can take them, sure. But maybe it's 1 big grug and 3's not even enough. And it's tough at the end of these battle royales. Your blood gets pumping. Your hands start shaking. It's exciting, it's intense. The only way to really get over that feeling is just playing a lot of them. But even when you're learning, just staying calm will go a long way. Now, Kaga helped with some reminders about grenades.
Remember the under grenade launchers. Default key is B.
This one's a little dangerous, though. This almost gets me killed. Our friendlies obviously didn't know what their grenade launcher was, so they impulsed me into a very dangerous position. Luckily, I was able to finish off the kill, and even though I was super exposed in the valley, his friendlies weren't able to pick me off before I made it back to safety. At this point, it's mine to lose. I've turned the tide, now it's 3 versus 2. And I've broken one of their shields, so there's a decision I've got to make.
Cyrious, your buddies need you. Medic.
My first reaction is yes, help them. But they're on the exposed side of the rock. I don't want to be stuck there. And I want to try to get this guy before his shields are full. Unfortunately, I overshoot with my vehicle, so I don't have the advantage of fighting him while his shields are still down. But we've still got it handled.
Nice game. 17 kills. Very nice.
Good job, boys. Oh my god.
Okay, fellow Raxians, that's it. That's your advanced training guide for Planetside Arena. Depending on when this gets released, you may have 48 hours to use it. Use that knowledge wisely, and please do go out and spread the word that there is going to be a You could call it a farewell event or a good riddance event. I'm not picky, pick your poison, call it either way you want. And I want to say it was encore, but I had a discussion with something about if the Daybreak cash we earned through tournaments would have any value, and I could say I told you so because it's all moot come Friday. So if you have some Daybreak cash, go ahead and spend it, open some crates, because why not? It all goes poof. That's all for now, fellow Raxians. It will be a fun event, but I will be very much looking forward to seeing you in the real Planetside.